Welcome back to Young Tripp Reactions. Yeah. Insane. Absolutely insane. Such a damn shame.
You're watching Young Tripp Reactions, the show where rapper Young Tripp reacts to the latest videos on crime, drama, news, and so much more. Get ready, because the show's about to start. Let's go.
Welcome back to Young Tripp Reactions. Peace. The next video we're going to do is woman says she slept with over 50 men because she's bipolar. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, join the Young Tripp family. If you have any videos that you run across that you want to hear me react to on the channel, post it in my community tab or send it to me through direct message over on my professional FB or my professional Instagram. If you have any situations involving police misconduct, injustice, violations of civil rights involving you, a friend, a family member, send that to me through direct message over on my professional FB or Instagram as well, too. Let me know if there are civil rights attorneys involved, similar to Ben Crump or Ben Crump himself. Let me know about the activists that are involved so I can join them as an activist myself to help fight for justice for you and your family. Also, let me know if the relative, if it is involving a friend or a relative, let me know if they are still here or if the incident involving the police, had them go to the Lord or to the Lord and Savior. If they are still here, see if they want to be interviewed. If they're no longer here, then you can come on and speak for them, or I can speak for them, get information from you, plus pull public information about the case and get it out there to fight for justice for you and your family. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and join the Young Tripp family. And also make sure you come follow me over on my professional FB and Instagram as well, too. And let's get into this.
I amassed more than 50 sexual partners in less than a year. Let me tell you about it. One of the hardest parts of having bipolar 2 isn't the depression. It's talking about the things that I did during hypomania. Before I was diagnosed, I accumulated more than 50 sexual partners in a single year. And no, it wasn't because I was empowered. It wasn't because I was having fun. It wasn't because I was living my best life. It was because I was sick. When I'm hypomanic, my brain craves dopamine. Everything feels urgent, intense, necessary. I become impulsive, incredibly reckless, and convinced that whatever I'm chasing will finally make me feel whole. For me, that often looked like sex. But what I was really addicted to wasn't the sex. It was the validation that came with the sex. I needed to feel wanted, desired, chosen, even if just for a few hours, and those hours, the attention felt like self-worth. And then the high would wear off, I would crash, and I'd be left alone with the same emptiness I was trying to escape in the first place, oftentimes an emptiness that felt worse. Mental illness doesn't always look like staying in bed crying. Sometimes it looks like making choices that you don't understand until years later and you're diagnosed and medicated. Today, I don't tell this story because I'm proud of it or I think it's funny. I tell it because somewhere out there is a person with bipolar disorder carrying so much shame about the things that they've done during an episode, whether it be depressive or hypo.
I keep saying this. Do
Advertising,
not buy Carpe on Amazon. Do not buy Carpe on... Yeah, Carpe is one of the...
I tell it because somewhere out there is a person with bipolar disorder carrying so much shame about the things that they've done during an episode, whether it be depressive or hypomanic. you need to know that you still deserve treatment. You still deserve healing, and your worst symptoms do not define your worth. The diagnosis explained, what happened. It didn't excuse it, but it finally gave me a place to start healing. And, you know, hypersexuality is a real symptom of bipolar disorder. And if you're
I mean, I'm not a doctor. I mean, anything is possible. Um, I I just I can't say that it's not, I don't have bipolar disorder. It's just like when somebody tries to speak about like my eye condition or assume what's good for me or whatnot. So I can't necessarily speak on, well, oh, she's making that up, you know. Now somebody may come and watch my video, my reaction to this, or maybe there's people in the comments of even on Anton's video that may, say, "Nah, she crazy." I've only been with my husband, or I'm married to somebody that I've been with since I was like in high school, or they may say, "Hey, I've had." Other partners, but I didn't have no 50. I dated two or three, and the third person was my husband. I dated two other people or my husband, and I, just like a lot of people, because everybody dates different people to find that right person. Some people are lucky that the first person they meet is the right person, and there may even be people that have had bipolar disorder where they've met one person and that was the person for them for life. There may be a person who have met another person and then met two people and then that second person was the person for them, or they could have had three people in total and that third person was the husband, which is sometimes a lot of people's cases, and then everything clicked. So I can't say that she's wrong, but I'm just looking at it like, is this really that? Again, for anybody who has bipolar disorder, put it in my comments. I have some people that I think that have some situations with that. I may send that to them or send it over to somebody who can get it over to them and see what they say about it. But I don't know. That's just like somebody trying to speak about eyesight, which I have people who try to do that, try to speak about my eyesight. And you can't speak about somebody's situation because it's not your situation. So I can't speak about bipolar disorder because it's not something that I'm dealing with. So, yeah, I'm not really going to get too deep into that. I know Anton might, and we'll kind of go over that a little bit. But, yeah. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and join the Young Tripp family. Let's continue.
experiencing this or gave me a place to start healing. And, hypersexuality is a real symptom of bipolar disorder. And if you're experiencing this or you have in the past, you are not alone.
We're not going to continue to make excuses for people sleeping around. That's not what we're doing nowadays. I think that this whole narrative that people continue to form about mental health is just an excuse for why they did what they did without truly taking responsibility. And so they then say stuff like, well, I wasn't properly diagnosed, or you deserve treatment, or being hypersexual is one of the symptoms of being, of being bipolar. And I'm sorry, I'm not always able to finish my sentences without laughing because I think that it's hilarious how people keep making excuses for sleeping with 50 people in 1 year. 50 people in 1 year. How do you even find 50 people in one? Well, I guess it could be easy, especially if you're a woman. But to go out there and hunt, and she actually kept count, which probably means that it was more than 50 if we just gonna keep it 100%. But the fact of the matter is, people keep trying to give validation to bad behavior. And unfortunately, and I'm gonna get to the whole validation conversation in a second, Unfortunately, these people also look to be somebody else's wife. So the whole world, now that doesn't conclude the amount of partners that you've had in general, or how many times these 50 people busted down for a real one, or how many of them was back to back. None of that matters, right, in this conversation. Of course not, because, listen, all we're doing is giving validation, and we need to be able to acknowledge why you had this mentality to where you wanted to be loved and you wanted to sleep with 50 people and all of this other type of stuff. Nope, I'm not buying it. Nope, I don't think that you should buy it either. And I think that people need to be called to the front of the congregation, and they think that just because they telling a story and it's their truth, and that they can live this liberal lifestyle, and make no mistake about it, I am a fan of freedom.
You say you can't remember your childhood?
Advertising, yeah.
Let me tell you something important. You can't remember most of your childhood, entire year.
I think that that's one of the things that's afforded to you, as you can see from the American flag and our liberal lifestyle. And make no mistake about it, I am a fan of freedom. I think that that's one of the things that's a liberal lifestyle. And make no mistake about it, I am a fan of freedom. I think that that's one of the things that's afforded to you, as you can see from the American flag in our background. That is.
The thing is, Anton did not need to put his politics in it, because I'm sure you already heard him talk about being liberal and all that regarding, him supporting, if you've watched a lot of my videos, if you ever also have ever watched Anton Daniels, you know what side of the aisle he supports. So, of course, he got to throw out somebody being a Democrat and hate on Democrats and all that. And, again, I always like to apologize for when he does that, even though when the video has nothing to do with that, because there are Republicans who sleep around too. Okay? It don't got nothing to do about who you vote for, any of that. Everybody does, there's people on all sides of the aisle who sleep around. Democrats, Republicans, independents, everything. So it don't got nothing to do with that. As for the lady and her situation, again, I can't really speak on that because I don't know. I'm with Anton though about not really coming up with excuses for people. Again, I'm not a doctor, so I can't speak for that. If somebody has bipolar, that they won't and can't, and will not sleep around, that them sleeping around has nothing to do with their diagnosis, because I'm not a doctor to speak on that. But again, I'm with Anton that we're not going to be coming up with excuses for just random people sleeping around, and then they just get to wake up and say, oh, I'm bipolar, that's why I did it, if that's not really the case. I want to believe that this woman is not making up that she's bipolar. Like I said, I have relatives and know people who are bipolar, and that is not that's not something I want to joke around about. So I want to hope that her situation really is really that, and really is bipolar, and that maybe it is connected to that, because again, I'm not a doctor to say it's not. But if a doctor tells me, that no, that's not, nobody can do that. Like if I went and called my doctor and just said, could somebody be bipolar and have a history of just messing around with different people romantically? And if he says, well, yeah, that can happen. Okay, cool. Okay, well, I know that that's possible. If he says, well, no, that's just somebody just coming up with excuses, well, then that's different. But I'm not going to say that this woman that her situation is not that, what she's saying, because I'm not a doctor to go against that. And really neither is Anton. But of course, I know it's just about just holding accountable. And I will hold somebody accountable if I know the truth, that if that is the case, that's not the case, that people who are bipolar do not do that and will not do that. And that's not bipolar. That's just an individual every day, just like anybody else, just choosing to do that, and they just happen to have bipolar disorder. So that's that's my explanation of that. I don't know what the situation is, so I can't speak on that. If that really is the case, then prayers go out to her to hope that she can get it figured out. If that's not the case and she's just making it up to try to come up with excuses, then shame on her, because you chose to get online and chose to put your business out there, and hope that you get real help that you need for your addiction of being intimate. Let's continue.
One of the things that is a liberal lifestyle, and make no mistake about it, I am a fan of freedom. I think that that's one of the things that's afforded to you, as you can see from the American flag in her background. That is one of the things that is afforded to you, is the freedom to do what you want to do as long as you are not hurting somebody else or breaking the law. So if you want to go out there and you want to shake your tail feather and you want to make your box available to every single Tom, Dick, and Harry that runs across your timeline, have at it. If you want to go and find these guys on the app and then you just want to have somebody come in and take your virginity, because I know that y'all say that y'all reborn again virgins on a regular basis, then have at it. You have the freedom to do so, as long as you are not hurting anybody else. But if a guy was to take this exact same approach and he was to say, you know what, I'm bipolar, that's why I slept with 50 girls in 1 year, you would call BS, 100%. Women will be in his comments saying that that's nonsense. You're just making an excuse. All of the same things that I'm saying. So don't take it personal when we have conversations and I have to hold people accountable, or I have a difference of opinion in the person that is saying whatever it is that they're saying. Please do not take it personal, and let's just have a simple conversation and throw away all of the BS and remove all of the nonsense from the conversation so that we can have an authentic dialogue and find a solution. Nobody ever says, you know what, I need to get myself together and I need to align myself with God. Nobody says, you know what, I need to go and research in my background to understand whether or not I had good parents that gave me a foundation that allowed for me to really hold myself accountable and not be for the streets. Nobody ever has a conversation about their decision making and putting themselves in a position to then have to trauma bond with everybody else because you was never supposed to be spreading box around in the first place. Right? That is not normal to go and sleep with 50 people and then blame it on mental health. We have to stop blaming everything on mental health and what you think you deserve. One of the most overused terms, couple of them. First one is mental health. The second thing is you deserve. You deserve what you get. You deserve what you kill. You deserve what you hunt. You deserve whatever it is that you get out of this life from doing the thing that then makes sure that you accumulate whatever it is that you deserve. You deserve it because you earned it. You worked for it.
Singers, get this.
Advertisement.
Last week, a soprano with decent technique landed a huge equity Broadway contract.
You don't just deserve anything just out of this life from doing the thing that then makes sure that you accumulate whatever it is that you deserve. You deserve it because you earned it. You worked for it. You don't just deserve anything just because you existed on the face of this earth. And I'm so tired of people making excuses on what they deserve or how they are out here throwing it around and ruining lives. And then they're going to sit there and they're going to come up here. Next thing you know, look, I'm telling you, happens all the time. Then they come up and then they're going to say, you know what? I deserve a good man. I deserve to be paid X amount of dollars. I deserve to have this. I deserve to have that. Meanwhile, doing nothing, none of the work. And then she advocated for getting medicated. Who advocates to get medicated? You know what I'm saying? And it's like all of this man-made stuff, all of this stuff is made up, and it's all to just not take accountability and justification for living an alternative lifestyle that they know. And then you know what the interesting part about this whole conversation is? They don't mind getting on the internet and telling all of their business and saying, listen, I was out here busting it down for a real one. Hey, I'm out here making it shake. Hey, I'm making it do what it do. Nobody wants to be honest about accountability. They just want to tell their story and be validated by other people inside of the comments that then come to them and say, you know what? Girl, I feel you. Me too. And then when we say, well, there's a lot of people that's out here that's being overly promiscuous, and I'm not really sure if that's the person that you want to make your wife. then then you get appalled. So you're not appalled at all of the guys that then bust you down for the real ones. You only appalled at the idea that you shouldn't get redemption in the eyes of the people that you think is good husbands, and that they should be reserved for good wives. And this is the reason why you have to separate yourself as an individual. You have to separate yourself from the BS. You have to remove yourself and only align yourself. Stop getting around and hanging around people that got all of this trauma. Stop getting around and hanging around people that's doing all of this nonsense. Stop spending your time around people that live alternative lifestyles, because usually what happens in that instance is you start feeling sorry for them and you start making concessions on what your standards should be, even though you're a good person. And I see so many guys getting around and being with women that don't deserve to be with them, because we don't have that conversation enough, because every woman thinks that they deserve a great man, but none of them actually want to be honest about the man that they're getting with and knowing that they're not good enough to be with them. And so a lot of y'all wind up making concessions, and you wind up being a step crash dummy, or you wind up getting with a woman that says, well, I was just being honest and I deserve a good man. When in reality, even men know what they qualify for based off of the lifestyle that they live in, or the resources that they're able to provide, or the work ethic that they have, or their ability to be a great father. And so y'all gotta listen to them as they tell y'all, take it as gospel, take it in, and believe them the first time that they tell you, and keep it moving, bro. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Henley 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. I'll holler at you guys later. Be careful.
I want to learn how to bicycle kick. Break down how to do it. Push off your kicking foot. Snap your driving leg down. Strike the ball with the hard part of your laces. Can I kick it?
Can't skip it right now.
Nobody needed to hear this more than me 6 months ago. You do not need 3 AI subscriptions. You should be paying for...
Yeah, like I said, I'm not a doctor. I don't know. But we cannot, like Anton said, we cannot come up with excuses for people choosing to kick it with 50 people. As she said herself, she kicked it with 50 people. So you cannot come up with excuses for that. But again, if it really is connected to a condition, as a person who has a condition myself, but I'm not out here kicking it with 50 people because of my condition, though. We just can't be doing that. Coming up with those type of excuses for people. If she is dealing with that, well, then you need to go talk to your doctor and try to get it solved and figured out, so you don't be kicking it with 50 people anymore. Let me know what y'all think. The link to the original video will be at the top of the chat and in the link in the description. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and join the Young Tripp family. If you have any videos that you run across that you want to hear me react to on the channel, post it in my community tab or send it to me over through my professional FB or my professional Instagram. Those will also be at the top of the chat and at the top of the link in the description, along with the original video, as well in the pinned comment as well too. Also, if you have any situations involving police misconduct, injustice, violations of civil rights, send that to me through direct message over on my professional FB or my professional Instagram. Let me know if there's a civil rights attorney involved, similar to Ben Crump or Ben Crump himself. Let me know about the activists that are involved so I can join them and help fight for justice for you and your family. Let me know if the situation involves you or a loved one. If it does involve someone else, like a friend or a relative, let me know if they're still here to make sure that, that the police did not, unalive them due to the incident. If they were unalived, then, just let me know. So then, obviously with me joining those, the activists that are involved to, definitely fight for, for justice, for you and your family, and push it very, very hard for that justice. Also, make sure you come follow me over on my professional Instagram and my professional FB as well too, because I post over there as well too. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and join the Young Tripp family. And yeah, just for people who have any of those situations going on, just send that to me through my professional accounts. Yeah, this lady, yeah, she really needs to go talk to her doctor. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification and join the Young Tripp family. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.